As Toxpex goes for Scald itself. Now this could be interesting. Could Pelipper trying to go for Hurricane here? Pelipper going for Scald again as Toxapex goes for the recover here. Pelipper going for Scald again, finally proccing the burn. Toxapex still hasn't landed it either. Things are looking a little bit better as Black Sludge has now been negated. We'll have to see what does Thanos go for in this situation. Does Toxapex even have Toxic in this case? Pelipper landing the Roost as Toxapex goes for a Scald and finally burns the Pelipper. I'm not gonna lie, things are not looking particularly well for Thanos things are not looking well for Blitz right now, as eventually Roost will run out of power points. Pelipper finally going for a U-turn here as Zapdos comes out. Scald not quite burning, thankfully. However, this Toxapex is now threatened by Thunder. The question remains, though, does Thanos choose to pivot out to Gliscor and risk a Weather Ball? Or do they choose to stay in and risk Thunder? That is the choice in mind, everyone. As one of the Zapdos going for Hurricane here, threatening a good amount of damage. As Toxapex goes for Scald again. I'm not certain if I'm not entirely certain if Hurricane will be enough to KO from this range. In comes the Gliscor as Zapdos finally is able to recover with Roost. This is looking very tight right now, as one mess up could lead to either of these teams falling apart. I do believe with this case, Zapdos will likely be either forced to swap or at the very least take a decent amount of damage. Gliscor going for Toxic, but the burn actually coming in clutch here, as burn allows it to avoid Toxic. And of course, we saw Scald earlier coming out, and I do think Toxapex comes out to try and bait the Scald. However, Pelipper is finally being pivoted back out. In comes the Swampert, actually, and this is where we're left with a tough choice. Earthquake will be dealing significant damage. However, there we go. In comes Corviknight. Flip turn dealing a good amount of damage again. I don't think I saw the damage drop. However, it might not be much of a factor in this case. This is going to be interesting. Thunder again KOs the Corviknight here, but if there was a correct prediction here with the Weather Ball, things could be looking incredibly poorly for Thanos. In comes the Toxapex as Zapdos goes for the Weather Ball. A very good predict on Thanos' end. The question remains, though, is what does Zapdos go for here? In comes the Thunder, dealing significant damage. Not quite enough to KO, though. And I do believe this Toxapex is forced to either be sacked or go for the Regenerator here. Meaning that this next attack is going to be dealing a significant amount. I do think Weather Ball is still enough to KO from this range. In comes the Corviknight. Zapdos going for Weather Ball and KOing Corviknight. That's a very important aspect. Oh, this is a little more dangerous, as I don't think Zapdos would be able to take an Ice Punch. Even if it goes for Roost, most Melmetal do run Earthquake. And so that is the question in store, everyone. There we go, Thunder successfully landing Paralysis. as double Iron Bash is enough to KO the Zapdos, and that is a major win condition on Blitz's team removed. However, I do see that the Swampert is still out, and I do think Corviknight has been removed, thankfully, but I do think Gliscor is still a factor here. We'll have to see what Thanos attempts to pivot into here. Earthquake is enough to KO the Melmetal. The question remains, the rain has stopped, and I don't think Swampert is now faster. This is a tight game. Gliscor coming out. What does Gliscor go for here? That's the question, though. If they go into Earthquake, Swampert has a very feasible chance to either, maybe not quite KO, but at the very least, take a sizable chunk out of Gliscor here. In comes Toxapex as Swampert goes for the flip turn, bringing in the Pelipper. I don't think Hurricane will be enough to KO for this range, and I do think there we go. Pelipper comes in once again as Palafin comes back out. This Toxapex is looking to stay alive as long as it can. I do think a sizable amount of Thanos' team has been removed, though. There we go. Send Headbutt, doing enough to KO, despite what the HP says, and that is a major wall gone. In comes Gliscor, though. Is this potentially a choice banned Palafin? Gliscor using Protect to try and save itself from the oncoming damage. The rain is still heavily coming out. Gliscor setting up Stealth Rocks here, a very bold play. As Skull comes out and Blitz beats Thanos with 3 Pokemon remaining. A very decisive win for Blitz here. Very much think they're going in favor of, I believe it is not TheNode, but rather there we go. We got confirmation now. JourneyGaming. Things are looking very well for them. And it looks like things. Ooh, that's not good. It looks like Noda MC is still waiting on someone. Chances are we might need to start with the third round rather than the second round. There we go. It looks like the next match will actually have the third person. I believe that is Spud and Horrors. This is a tough choice, everyone. And so we are, and so this is interesting. We are still waiting for, I believe, there we go. It looks like the battles have begun. It's actually Scarlet Nox versus, Horror's Lullaby, and Horror's, and this is actually a very interesting setup. This is the first time I've seen, Hisui and Samurott, at least for quite some time, and in comes Como, very much a dangerous, setup sweeper thanks to its Z Crystal, although this could just be the standard lead set, it's hard to tell. I will say something for certain though. Scarlox is at a very much disadvantageous state right now. Unless Samurott somehow learns Play Rough, which I highly doubt it does. Dealing a little bit of damage to Como here, as chances are it probably goes for one of two moves here, or actually three rather. This is either Iron Defense, Clangorous Soul Blaze, or potentially Stealth Rock. This is going to be a bit spicy, everyone. There we go. In comes the Galarian Slowking here. I believe this is the Iron Press set. There we go. This is gonna be interesting as although Galarian Slowking does quad resist any kind of body press shenanigans, things could be looking a little dangerous here. We'll have to see for ourselves. As Galarian Slowking is usually fairly passive. The only exception, of course, is the raw power of Future Sight. In comes the Hydreigon, very much very much an unused Pokemon as far as I'm aware. This is gonna be interesting, as with Levitate, any kind of ground damage will do nothing. And I do think there's a very likely chance that Hydreigon tries to go for either Nasty Paw or an immediate threatening attack with Dark Pulse. I will say, Horrors is using a very interesting team here, and it looks like a team very susceptible to fairy moves. The question remains, though, what happens next? As the ball is very much in Horrors' court right now. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, hmm, this is a new dilemma. I try again using Bite here, which is interesting. Actually, surprisingly, still doing a sizable amount and landing Flinch. This, huh, this is, this could be very interesting. Galarian, Galarian Slowking actually somehow dealing, not surprisingly, it takes a lot from Bite, especially from a Hydreigon. That's kind of impressive, honestly. We'll have to see for ourselves what Scarlinox tries to do in this situation, as things could be looking a little rough. And it looks like Landorus comes out, taking a little bit of chip damage here thanks to the bite. What does Hydreigon do now? There we go. Hydreigon taking the future sight, but dealing negligible, but doing no damage thanks to the dark type. I do think in most cases, Hydreigon is in fact faster than Lando. The only exception is if only the Lando is Scarf. There we go. In comes the Pelipper, causing rain to fall as Landorus hits the Stealth Rock. This is potentially very dangerous here, as we've yet to see a single rock resist, and we've even seen Pelipper. Is this also a rain team we're looking at here? It looks like it might just be rain. I'm trying to look for any of my Pokemon that have the moves I gave it. Could Note potentially be bugged? This is looking to be a very interesting dilemma. There we go. Out comes Water Pulse, slowly becoming confused. Surprisingly, despite not having the greatest move set, things are still going pretty well. At least for horrors here. There we go. Hydreigon comes back out, taking a little bit of damage, and Slowking hurting themselves in confusion. There we go. The rain is still very much a factor here. I do think that with confusion and flinch chances in play, I don't think chilly reception is a safe option, as it is very likely that this Slowking could just get hacked to death. There we go. Yeah, in comes the Landers once again as Hydreigon goes for another bite. And so we are left with a very interesting dilemma here, as I don't think Pelipper is very safe coming in. There we go. In comes the Komo as Landorus goes into Tornadus. I do think that a Bleak Wind Storm or a Hurricane will very much be enough to KO. Chances are, I think probably even Air Slash would too. There we go. Hydreigon comes out, taking a little more damage. Hurricane dealing a significant amount of Hurricane dealing a very significant margin to the Tornadus here. Or actually the Hydreigon rather. And I do think this does invite Landorus in again. Question remains though, what are the other moves we could be watching here from Hydreigon? It looks like Dragon Breath comes out. Not unfortunately not paralyzing uh the Tornadus here. There we go. Pelipper comes out. Being hurt by Stealth Rock. Surprisingly not taking as much as I thought. This is a weird game. I'm not gonna lie. And this is an and we are left at a very interesting dilemma. I don't think it's too late potentially to potentially recover the team. At least I hope it isn't. There we go. Out comes the Metagross. The Tornadus goes for Supersonic Sky Strike. We're seeing a lot of very unique Pokemon here coming from Horrors. The rain has stopped. Now this is going to be interesting. I don't think any of Metagross coming out using Bullet Punch, finally a decent move as Tornadus goes for the U-turn and tries to pivot out. Is Horse decided to commit with this team? This is a very bold play. There we go. In comes actually Zorwark comes out, which is surprising. Could TheNode potentially this could be very we'll have to see how things are turning out from here. This is very unfortunate for this is a tough decision here. There we go. Ceaseless Edge coming out once again. There we go. Pelipper hurt by Stealth Rock. This is interesting. Yeah, I think they're looking very confusing here. There we go. Pelipper using Water Pulse as Slowking once again becomes confused. Could we see more confusion hacks? There we go. In comes a Alolan Doug trio, actually. As Slowking brings out Chilly Reception, and in comes Hisuian Samurott once again. This is gonna be tough. There we go. A flip turn is enough to knock out the Doug trio. This is a very interesting team by Horrors here. Love to see whether or not this actually holds weight, though. This could be getting. We'll have to see whether or not what actually happens here. Kyurem comes out, and out comes the Metagross once again to deal a little bit of damage thanks to Bullet Punch. However, with Stealth Rocks and Spikes up, I don't think this Metagross is safe for much longer. And so we are left with a weird situation. In comes Scizor as Bullet Punch comes out, dealing pretty significant damage. There we go. Metagross using leftovers. There we go. As Metagross goes for confusion. And things are looking interesting. Scizor going for Sword Stance, probably trying to go for game here. However, I imagine if on the off chance confusion actually lands, in comes Pelipper as Scizor once again goes for another Sword Stance. Things are looking to be a little dangerous here. And so we are left with a very difficult choice. Oh my. Things are not looking potentially. Oh, Oh, okay. I think we might have gotten confirmation. It looks like we actually have our answer here, and a very unfortunate paste. Yeah, it looks like a very unfortunate throw by Horrors here. As Pelipper goes for stockpile. Yeah, it looks like Scarlonox, unfortunately. Yeah, it looks like, unfortunately, a major loss for Node MC. A very unfortunate play on Horror's part. Well, but we might potentially see the next redemption coming up. Question remains, though. And it looks like we are watching the final battlers play it out. I do believe we saw earlier it should be Joker coming in, probably representing Journey Gaming. It looks like we'll potentially see the final potentially see the final person representing Node. I think it could be either Pred or Explosion here, looking at how things are going. Apologies for the slight delay, everyone. I think my computer crashed. So I think there might have been a little bit of scuffed things happening. I should be back and ready to do this. And it looks like the next battle is about to begin shortly, thankfully. I will say now, this has been a very interesting set of matches thus far. Oh, it looks like our third person is here potentially. And it looks like Elf will be representing Node MC. This is going to be an interesting question on our hands. Could Elf clutch it up, or will Node MC be going 6-0, leading into round 3? And it looks like we'll have to see for ourselves if this is the case, as this is very interesting. We're spectating from the perspective of Node MC's Flying Elf here, as things might be at the advantage here potentially. Alola Ninetales is fairly fast and threatens this Darkrai with a Moonblast. However, if Darkrai does outspeed, there's a very likely chance that Darkrai could KO with Sludge Bomb. Darkrai going for Hypnosis here. It looks like it's not quite the Z set, which is interesting. It is possible that he's saving the Z Hypnosis for later, though. I do think that Darkrai has a very likely chance of setting up Nasty Plot and running away with the game. We'll have to see whether or not that actually holds water, though. Darkrai comes out, and Ninetales is still sweeping, still sleeping here. Ninetales tormented by bad dreams. Out comes the Screen Tail of all things. As special defense increases, Sludge Bomb dealing a decent amount of damage here. Sludge Bomb once again enough to KO. Things are not looking good for Flying Elf here, as this Darkrai is +2. The question remains, though, what does Flying Elf potentially have to pivot? In comes Alola Ninetales once again. However, do keep in mind, once again, Sludge Bomb will likely KO the Ninetales in this process. Sludge Bomb comes out, and there we go, another knockout. The snow has also stopped as well. In comes Latias, potentially trying to get a good pivot. The question remains, though, is there anything that this Latias will be able to do? Because I do think with Darkrai at +2, it could just be a sweep. Dark Pulse once again KOs the Latias. This could be over by turn 10. In comes Urshifu here. If this is potentially the Choice Scarf set, this might be what's necessary to bring things back. Sludge Bomb is not quite enough to KO as Darkrai uses the Focus Sash. We get confirmation now here. Does Urshifu potentially have Aqua Jet to stop the sweep? It doesn't look like they have the opportunity, though. Sludge Bomb is enough to KO. In comes Arcanine, a very likely extreme speed coming out here, meaning there is very much a chance for it to not be an immediate 6-0. Of course, that whether or not that actually happens will remain a mystery. There we go. Extreme speed coming out. finally taking out the Darkrai. But I think that's 4 of Flying Elf's Pokemon removed. In comes the Garchomp, which I highly doubt Extreme Speed will be enough to KO. I do believe this Garchomp will still have enough in the tank to, at the very least, revenge kill the Arcanine. Maybe what else also comes out. Earthquake comes out, KOs the Arcanine as Iron Valiant comes in. The last gasp, Valiant dealing significant, getting a boost to speed, which could be helpful. However, surely there is a counter here. As Venusaur comes in, Valiant going for Destiny Bond, trying to soften the blow as much as possible. Mega Venusaur coming in, Valiant going for knockoff as Sludge Bomb comes in, and Spud, I think, defeating Flying Elf with 5 Pokemon remaining. And I do think that is a successful 3-0 on Journey Gaming's part. And it looks like and it looks like as we wait for these potential things to update, things are looking incredibly dangerous for Node MC right now. If they don't, chances are there is a very high likelihood that Node will be enough to K. Node might be knocked out. We'll have to see for ourselves what happens next, though, as I do believe the next match will be starting in about an hour. Of course, my name is Delta, and we'll be right back.